boiled down to now we only have like a week and a half. It's all boiled down to this little tiny narrow window that's remaining. So we're behind schedule when we get to Guam, and we think, all right, the ocean better cooperate. And guess what? 30 knot winds, 30 gusting 40, and the whole sea is jacked up. And I remember looking out over the seawall. It's just this boiling cauldron of 4-meter swells. Just thinking, we can't launch in that. And just looking at it day after day with this, sinking feeling that the whole thing is just not going to happen. Because right after that, I had to go for my premiere, for Titanic 3D. I had gotten 2 studios to step up and spend $20 million to convert Titanic to 3D, and I had to show up. Finally, I just said, look, guys, we're just going out. And we went out, and it was big, way above anything that we could launch in.
As the ship plows through the swells, a glimmer of hope appears on the horizon.
While we were in transit, we looked at the long-range forecast, and we saw a little dip in the wind. And it looked like it was going to last maybe a day, maybe a day and a half. And it was a couple of days out. I said, it looks like the ocean is giving me a choice. I can either make the dive, culmination of a 7-year project, or I can go to my premiere. If I don't go to the premiere, I'm going to have 2 of the biggest studios in Hollywood history not speaking to me for the rest of my life. But guess what? We didn't come this far and not dive. And we have a window. And so we're going. So I said, all right, guys, here's the plan. Go to sleep now, get 3 hours sleep, 4 hours sleep, and get up at midnight. And we're starting our countdown at midnight. And we're going to launch at 4 o'clock in the morning.
A farewell kiss from his wife.
This going to be a PDA?
And some words of encouragement from Don Walsh, the only other man alive who's been there.
My words to him when he started down were, good luck, have fun.
All right, Jim. All right, buddy. Come on, have fun. Have fun, exactly. And I'm glad it's you to take it back to the record.
I got in the sub, and it was like, all right, here we go, guys. This is it. Next stop was going to be 7 miles down. We did the launch. Actually went fairly smoothly. So far, so good. You get me in the water, I'm diving. I get in the water, the divers are all ready, they've adjusted the bags, I'm in the diving position, I've gone through all my checks, I'm ready to go. So I called release, 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 and that's the command, and they pulled quick releases and the sub drops. So I took off like a shot, fastest I've ever seen. The surface just receded, just went away. And I'm looking at the depth gauge, and I'm like at 1,000 feet in the first couple minutes. Sub's just going like a bat out of hell.
As a veteran of the deep, Don Walsh knows well the greatest threats to the mission.
Pressure's number 1 thing. Number 2 thing is fire. Because if you have a fire inside there, you better move quickly, because the fire can use up a lot of the oxygen, or if it's electrical fire, then the burning insulation becomes toxic fumes. Catastrophic flooding, it's all over. You're probably dead before you know you're dead, because 8 tons per square inch, it's instantaneous. The cabin's just going to implode, and that's it.
On the way down, his sub shrinks by about 7 centimeters under the force.
It seemed like just a few minutes, and I'm going past Titanic depth. Then I'm going past Bismarck depth, 16,000 feet. Then I'm going past the deepest any sub on the planet other than our sub can dive. And at that moment, when I got to 27,000 feet, which was the deepest I had dived before, I still had 9,000 feet to go. And everything just stopped, and it got really quiet. And it was just descending, just watching the numbers, thinking, going deeper and deeper and deeper.
deep as Mount Everest is high, with still 2 kilometers to go.
To start, just fine-tuning my ballast, getting, adjusting the camera so that I can see down, turning up the spotlight. And sure enough, as the altimeter counted down below, 100, then 90, then 80, all of a sudden I saw a glow, and there was the bottom. And I just trimmed out neutral, just hovered, and just floated down, and made slow contact with the bottom. Didn't even make like a cloud of silt. I just sat there and I thought, here I am, 7 years. And all that engineering and all that work and everything, and it worked.
After pausing to take it all in, Cameron starts to take core samples of the ocean floor.
First thing I had to do was get a sample. So I deployed the science door, deployed the arm, got it out, pushed the core tube down, looked like I got a good sample, brought it back up. And just about that time, I think it was around that time, Susie called. She had taken over. She had commandeered the comm system, and she called me at the bottom of the ocean. So here I am in the most remote place on planet Earth that's taken all this time and energy and technology to reach. And I feel like the most solitary human being on the planet, completely cut off from humanity, no chance of rescue, in a place that no human eyes have ever seen. And my wife calls me, which of course was very sweet, but, let that be a lesson to all men. Think you can get away, but you cannot. Then what happened was the hydraulics failed. And the hydraulic fuel just kind of bubbled up in front of the window from it was actually a burst hose fitting on the arm. Right after I got the one sample, the arm just froze and the door froze. I couldn't get anything to work. So I thought, well, at least I can still go exploring. So I started driving, and I decided to do transect to the north and see if I could get all the way across the flat ponded sediment and work my way up the slope.
Then, another critical system failure.
I started to lose thrusters. At that moment, I could only turn. I couldn't go forward anymore. And so that was it. I'd lost my hydraulics. I now had no ability to move forward. I thought about everything I could conceivably do. I was done. It was time to come back. So I called the surface. I told them I was ascending. And then there's that moment when you reach for the switch.
The sub is equipped with a pair of 300-kilogram weights that enable the sub to sink. If the weights don't drop as designed, there is a good chance Cameron will never see daylight again.
I knew exactly what it was supposed to do, how it was supposed to do it, but there's still that moment where you think, if this doesn't work, it's going to be a bad day.
Okay, weight's coming off.
There's nothing like that feeling when you hear the shook, and you see on the camera, you see the weights fall out and hit the seafloor. And then at that point, sub took off from 7 miles down back to the surface was 70 minutes. The sub was a rocket at that point, and it felt like a train car going. So that's the fastest I'd ever moved, vertically underwater. It's almost like I could feel the ocean's grip slowly relaxing. So I got out, and the first person that I see is Don Walsh, which is amazing.
It hasn't changed a bit since you were down there.
He understood that we were there not only to do our own thing, but also to celebrate what he had done, what the pioneers, and by extension, all the pioneers that went before us.
Yeah, it's a heck of a ride. I mean, you're just screaming down, and then you're screaming back up.
What I think this has done is it shines a spotlight on the fact that there's still a vast frontier here on planet Earth it's unexplored. The art of exploration is storytelling. In addition to taking the science, data, the samples, you've got to take pictures and you've got to come back and you've got to tell the story. Not just the science story and not just the things the pictures are already telling you. The story of what it felt like to go down there and to bear witness with your own eyes to something that nobody had ever seen before. That's the true spirit of exploration.